welcome to another exciting episode of the Modern Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Weary, and with me today is our co-host, Brad Turner. And Brad, you've got to be excited today. We've got a guest on that is into regenerative farming and agricultural engineering, things that you do regularly. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. No, this one's going to be fun because our guest is into nitrogen efficiencies, and she's done some work in cover cropping and no-till. So this is going to be a great conversation.
Okay, I'm excited too. So let's bring out our guest. I'll introduce her for the audience. Her name is Dr. Akshara Athelly. And Akshara, could you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, and your background?
Hi everyone, I am Akshara Athelly. I just finished my PhD and will be graduating next week. I'm from India and I did my bachelor's in agricultural sciences. I did my master's from LSU on agroecology and sustainable agriculture, where I did my thesis on corn nitrogen management in different tillage systems. And in Florida, I did my PhD from UF on agricultural engineering, and I also did certifications on biosystems modeling. But my research in my PhD mainly was focused on smart irrigation adoption, where I worked with 3 growers and I also interviewed 103 farmers. Brad was one of them. Who I interviewed in one of my surveys, where we focused on how to improve smart irrigation adoption and also focus on the barriers on farmers here.
Yep, no, I remember that.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. So we've got a team that knows each other already. So this should be a real interesting conversation because you guys are gonna sync up on the language and the ideas. And it sounds like your attitudes and your interests are right in line with each other, which will be cool.
Yep, no, this will be good.
So awesome. So Dr. Athelly, can you maybe go back to your youth or your childhood? What was your interest? What sparked you to go down this road in the kind of the agricultural, real technical engineering and water management type field?
I think it's always been there. My dad was a farmer, and I used to go with him to his fields. And growing up, and he was really into water management as well. He was the first person who initiated the groundwater project in my town. So it was always in my family. We used to have a lot of discussions. So he was so excited when I chose agriculture as for my bachelor's. He was so happy. And also, like, growing up, I saw how difficult it is to have uh resources affecting the yields, and we have a lot of farmer suicides in India as well because of these issues. So they impacted me, and I always wanted to bring science to people and to the roots level, like how as scientists we can help them, like as scientists we can empower them. And that's how it started, and I'm still here doing that.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
so in India, how were you irrigating? Was it flood irrigating? Was it
uh
or was there
I,
irrigation?
we are very remotely limited. I'm from South India, from Hyderabad. It's a plateau region. We do not have a lot of rivers flowing through the region, so we are primarily dependent on rainfall and groundwater. So we were that's why before my dad in my town, it was like only relied on rain, and now it is on groundwater. But we are trying to implement, like, even the government is trying to implement more sustainable practices with collecting rainwater and using them for irrigation right now. And in recently, the drip irrigation has been very popular, and the government is also providing subsidies and stuff so the farmers can afford them.
So they're having to conserve water out of necessity, or it's just not there.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I know we use a lot of drip here too, and our government actually will do very similar things in the U.S.
Yeah.
They'll help subsidize your conversion from something inefficient to a drip kind of system. So
Mhm.
familiar with that. So that really shaped your early education. We hear that a lot, from the young people, even in 4-H, that agriculture was in their family, right? That's pretty cool,
Yes.
and we hear that story a lot. So over here in the United States, you've worked in Louisiana, obviously for your LSU degree, and then in Florida for your Ph.D.
Yes.
You did some corn nutrient management. How did that transition into the irrigation work you do with the vegetable systems and that sort of thing?
Yes. In Louisiana, I really love working with nutrients as how much impact they have on environment, and also everything, like the production costs and all. And so we did work with like tillage systems and how it can improve. Like, do we need a new nitrogen management for a no-till systems, or it can be same as conventional till? And we realized that we need to apply more nutrients and use cover crops there. And also, like my professor was Dr. Shyam Dodla, and he was also a soil science expert who was also doing a lot of irrigation research as well. So I was involved in irrigation too, like the alternative row irrigation systems. So that helped me like to understand like how much the water moves the nutrient and how much the water impacts the nutrient availability. At the end, even though we apply a lot of nutrient, if we don't have enough soil moisture, it's all waste. So that like helped me like, okay, it's set together as a system. Now I have achieved enough knowledge on nutrients. Let me focus on water and nutrients in Florida. And Florida is such a unique system. In my first year, I'm still surprised all the time because of how different the soil is here and how different practices are here compared to the entire world. That's why even in my PhD, I worked on seepage irrigation, which is very unique to Florida. Yeah. It helped me a lot. Like, I think it's like a process, like you learn some knowledge, you use that knowledge, and you learn more knowledge in the next one.
Yeah. So how are things different when you said they're different? I know you're working over in Fort Pierce, and that's high moral
Yes.
calcareous sand. So
Yes.
I would just, so compared to Louisiana
Oh my
is
God,
quite a bit
it's
different.
so different. I mean, in Louisiana, I worked with very clayey soils, and their water
Sure.
retention, the absorption, soil aggregation is entirely different than sandy soils here. And some of the growers I worked with, I felt like it's almost like a beach sand. I didn't
Yeah.
know that you can cultivate here. When I went to the field for the first time, I was like, this is not something I'm never used to, because even in India, we have like red soils, alluvial soils, but
Mhm.
it's not sand. So when I work with sensors, especially, we need to have enough contact with the sensor to even get accurate data, which was not a problem in Louisiana. But here, it's such a big problem, and we have to like train extension agents and figure out new practices which work for the soil type here. And especially with seepage, it's very unique, very interesting. At the same time, the amount of water seepage irrigation uses compared to any other irrigation system. In my research, we found out that even if we save 1 day of irrigation, we are saving like 1 million gallons in one field.
Sure.
So the impact is so much higher, and it motivates me. It's pretty interesting to learn new things.
Yeah, no, and with clay, a lot of times you're in a heavy clay soil, an inch of rain and you're getting no
Yeah.
infiltration. And I've always said in Florida, especially southern Florida, we're always 4 days away from a drought. I mean, we can get
Yeah.
2 inches of
Yeah.
rain in some areas, and before the week's out, you're having to irrigate. So it's a lot of difference, right?
Yeah, even with the irrigation recommendations in our research, which we provide to growers, probably in Louisiana, once a week would have been fine. If they got a rain, like you're gonna get rain next week, that's fine, because even the weather there is predictable compared to Florida, which changes a lot. As we can see, like it will be like sunshine now and it's gonna rain afternoon.
Right.
So when it comes to working with the growers, we try to give like every 3 days, which worked well with the growers as well, like getting the information from National Weather Service telling them like you're gonna have rain tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Please do not irrigate. And even when with the sensor data, the field capacity, where we consider like, oh, good amount of soil moisture for a crop, and also like permanent wilting point where our plants are dying or they're not able to get water anymore. The range in Florida is so small, so we need to be really careful so that our plants don't die at the same time we don't irrigate, like over irrigate.
Right.
So that was like very, I think, complicated compared to Louisiana, like extremely. But we were able to manage it, and we worked with like three different soil types even in Florida, like very sandy but like slightly different. But it worked with growers too. So the 3 days of um, irrigation recommendations seems to be working.
Very important.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Could you kind of explain the smart sensors? That's kind of the new technology, right? Is the sensors on moisture to help moisture control? Can you explain kind of how that works and what you use that for?
So in our study, we used like capacitance-based sensors, like all the sensors and indirect measurement of soil moisture. So it will tell. It's a tool just to tell like how we measure our height with a scale. Like it's a tool to tell us the information. The smart part comes where the scientists, like in my lab, we are smart irrigation and hydrology lab, where we use the data to generate like an actionable recommendation the farmer can use. That's the smart part. So our end of that project, which I worked with my PhD, is to develop an app. Like I worked as an app in my PhD, but like my role would be an app where the app can tell the growers very simple text: irrigate for 2 hours, stop irrigation. Not giving them like too much complicated data unless if they wanted to give actionable recommendations. So that's the smart part. The app and the people behind the back end take the majority of the work and give the farmer a simple recommendation which they can use and like work on it in less than 2 minutes, because they have so many other things to do in their day. They don't need to be looking at the data and figuring out themselves. They can just install the sensor and the app helps them.
Is any of that based on the crop? Like, I mean, you have shallow rooted
Yes.
crops and you have very
Yes.
deep rooted crops, so that would affect how much water and when, right?
Yes, it is very crucial to understand which crop we are working with. In my research, we worked with a sweet corn. My lab, we work on citrus as well. So it's like entirely different. And even the type of sensors we install, like right now we are working with 24-inch sensors. So for the sweet corn root, it's perfect. It's like a meter long. And we also determine the depth of sensor. Like the sensor I'm working is a probe. It has 6 sensors from 2-inch to 22-inch. Like,
Gotcha.
so we will determine which sensor depth to use based on the root growth as well. And one of my colleague who is he's electrical engineer and is working in agriculture now. He's my postdoc who is doing an interesting study on how we can use the root absorption, like give a mathematical formula on how the root is absorbing, and then we can determine. So this will avoid like many questions for even modeling people. So yes, we do take that like that consideration heavily on what kind of crop, what is the stage of the crop, what is the root growth.
And does soil type have anything to do, like water holding capacity, or is it
Yes.
really just the water is water?
No, soil type, like soil type and the plant type. Soil type determines very heavily, like on how much water is absorbing, how much water, like the soil water retention. So what we do is that we determine the field capacity. Like the field capacity is like the point where the soil is saturated after the drainage, like after the water is removed from the drainage. What is the water left is the field capacity. So we determine that point using the sensors. There are like several papers on how to determine that. And also we have permanent building capacity point. We can use, we can get that from like scientific measurements and also from web soil survey. Based on that range, we already determine the thresholds where we want to maintain our soil moisture and until where we can increase, and then we have to stop irrigation. That's how we give the recommendation. If we notice that the sensor is dropping and the algorithm is predicting that there is no rainfall and the soil moisture will drop further in the next 4 days, then I will tell my farmers, please irrigate for 10 hours. So we know. We also go and take the irrigation system information as well, like how much is the flow, how much water, like how far is the like field from the pump as well, especially in seepage,
Hmm.
and how many ditches they have, so that we know how much water it needs to get to a certain moisture level.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very
And that's
interesting.
all done through the software you guys have developed for these sensors. That's what you're saying.
Yes. So what I worked in my past 3 years is to like figure out all of these issues on what we are incorporating, what we need to incorporate, because it's a mutual learning. Like the farmer is learning from us, we are also learning so many things from the grower and their systems, and like what things we have to avoid. Like for example, the sensor placement. Like we need to avoid the sensor to like put somewhere. It should not interfere with their operations. It should not interfere with any of their equipment. And in our first season, we have realized that what problems that can cause.
Hmm.
So
Well,
those
yeah,
are the things, yes, we learned,
you don't want to
which
run
will
it
not
over with
happen in a
a
research.
tractor. Right?
Yeah, in a research station, it's like an entirely different picture. That's why I think like researchers and extension is we all need to work with growers. So we learn so much on practical issues and how to solve them, like because the research station provides a lot of good data, good research, but at the same time it might not be always applicable to the real world.
Hmm.
Good
Yeah,
point.
I'm sure we're going to have some farmers listening to this, and that's as I'm thinking about this. I was in a grove yesterday, and and it wasn't a flat woods like over where you are, where most of it's bedded. This was kind of rolling hills and pulling soil tests, and you can see a lot of variation in soil. So do you typically, and a lot of times you can even see it in the crop, when it's a sandy
Yes.
soil or less loamy soil. So do you, as far as application, do you kind of go to your worst case scenario, where if you had three different scenarios, you'd have three different sensors and try to work averages, or how would you handle that as far as a
We
grower?
try to do the majority, like in a soil, in a very variable soil. If we have 20% of like one soil type, 70% of another soil type, we tend to go with the majority, so that we are addressing the majority of the field.
Sure.
And if the farmer has very distinct and he can separate and he has a huge acreage, we try to tell him like to install multiple sensors so that he can address that areas as well. In our research, we try to install two sensors for like depending on the farmer. One farmer we worked with 75-acre block, and another farmer is like 10-acre block, but we try to be consistent and install two sensors and see. We also had some issues where farmers try to grow multiple crops in one season. It's not just sweet corn, they grow vegetables, and the same pumping system may supply to all of them. So those are the real issues which will happen. In that scenario, we will try to focus mainly on the soil type. And if he's growing all the vegetable crops and their root system is little similar to compared to tree crops, so we will like try to address that issue
Right.
based on the crop type.
Do you ever run across someone who has a misconception or some holdback on this technology, and how do you address that if you've ever done that? Are there any farmers that are resistive at first to what you're doing?
Yeah, and the one of the grower I worked with. So what we did in our first season is we will install the sensors, and he was very skeptical, to say the least. He was not interested. He was collaborative, and he was very. I really appreciate that he came forward that he would do it, but he was extremely skeptical of sensors and did not find them useful, because we do a survey at the end to see like how they felt before and how they are feeling now, based on that information. And he told us that he did not trust them at all. Like he knows like better, he know his field, he know his crops.
Right.
What changed in him is that during hurricanes, like in the second season we had some hurricanes, and I sent him emails before the hurricane and after the hurricane, because we also play a place a weather station, and I told him, this is the rain you're gonna receive, please be careful. And after that we also told him, like, this is the amount of rain and this is the data if you want to use for crop insurance purposes. And that changed, like he changed after that. He did not probably expect that from us. At the same time, he started trusting. Like, other than the sensors, he started trusting us. And later he realized, he started checking his emails more, followed the recommendations more. He started like talking to me more, and I get emails at like 10 p.m. It's like, can you tell me what's the rain I got last week? And I was like, that was a different person. So
He
that's why,
was
like,
probably an old guy like me, right?
yes. He's probably like in 70s, but like that's why the relationships matter a lot. Like,
Sure.
we are the scientists and extension agents, like we are like doing science, but at the adoption, at the core level, the people we trust are our relationships. Like, we trust our family, our friends, because they have been there for us, like in our hard times. Same with the farmers. Like, if we build those relationships, any technology we bring, it's gonna be easier for them to adopt and trust, and they will start believing it. Even if they have some setbacks, they will let you know, instead of immediately saying this technology is entirely bad. So that's why, like, my survey, like which you did, was like even to understand how farmers right now are trusting universities, industries, all other agencies who are promoting technologies as well, to realize where we are at right now and how we can improve.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, very, very important. I mean, when I'm having a conversation with a grower, at some point, I'm going to end up saying your biggest limiting factor to yield is water. That's your number one. Too
Yes.
much or too little, that is
Mhm.
it. Number two is carbon, and then I go down that road. But it's so important. I mean, when an annual crop, say, gets to a point where it can get to a point where it's so stressed, it will never recover and produce like
Yes.
it should. So these modern monitoring tools are so important, to whether it's overwatering or underwatering.
And I mean, it shouldn't be like that. At the same time, from a farmer's point of view, especially when I did survey, we found out, like, there's majority, there are small farmers who might not like have access to a lot of resources, who might not have a manager who is looking for all of the cost shares available. So even if they want, they cannot implement. So that's something, like, when I work with my extension agents, we discussed, and we also wrote one EDIS publication on what are the cost shares available on soil moisture technologies, so that we give them the information on who to contact, go to this person, so that they can go and access these technologies. So I think, like, there is a lot of, like, they are coming forward, like farmers are coming forward, and the system also, like all the agencies, they have to come forward to have those relationships. At the same time, like, go and ask the farmer, what do you want, instead of like just go and tell them like what we want you to do. Like, go and ask them, like, what do you want, and then we can like develop research and papers based on it.
That's
Yeah.
smart. Along those lines, do you hold some open houses, and do you go to, like, say, the Citrus Expo or other expos to get some of that information? And how does that work out for you if you do?
Yeah, we did like so many. I mean, because of my survey as well, I didn't want to do an online survey. That's why I went to all the expos, Florida Ag Expos, where I can meet farmers. I know if they're understanding my question right or not. I can talk to them more, have more information at the same time. And at UF IFAS IREC, we do like citrus show every year, and we conduct an open house every single year. And they like farmers, like they come, like we get a lot of citrus farmers because of the area. We also get some vegetable farmers, and USDA also helps us with the vegetable sessions. We learn a lot during those sessions. Like, a lot of farmers ask very interesting questions after the session, like, why didn't you do this? Why you could have done this better, or why didn't you consider these factors, or what happened? Like they will help the researchers to find new problems. And I say like, oh, I didn't think of that. Okay, because all the researchers around us think like a researcher. We don't think like a farmer. And when
Right.
we talk to a farmer, we understand
important.
like their point of view like very much. So I think those they help a lot. And one of the like the survey, we asked farmers what we should do to improve your engagement, and majority of the farmers also identify they want collaborations and they want workshops like those, so that they can come and collaborate with people. So any scientists who are listening to this one, please collaborate with them more, and also like please do many workshops which are locally available, and also do online workshops. If the farmers cannot attend them, they can probably see them online on YouTube.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So do you collaborate much with the like I go a lot to the IFAS station up in Live Oak. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know their BMP
Yes.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Joel Love.
Yeah.
They got some serious nitrogen issues up there with the
Yes.
groundwater and the springs, and so they're working hard. I mean, they're
Yes.
out of necessity. They have requirement that they're going to have to
Yeah.
reduce their nitrogen. So they
Yeah.
got sensors for everything, everywhere, cover cropping and strip tilling. And I know you've had some
Mhm.
experience in all of that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, one of my committee member, Dr. Vivek Sharma, he's doing irrigation research. He's an ag engineer as well. He does a lot of research on nutrients and water management in Live Oak, and he's one of the researchers who is doing a STEPS project where they involve farmers with the soil moisture. With management and like nutrient and water management as well. And he's doing some incredible work in North Florida, and especially with his like soil moisture weather, like soil moisture
Mm-hmm.
network as well. So like we collaborate with researchers as well. Like right now I'm like located in South Florida, so we focused like two growers from here and one from Central Florida. But we do collaborate with them, and like they give, like he helped me a lot in my research to like
Cool. I think
work
I
with
met him.
farmers as well. And like I think like that's what makes like science. Like when we collaborate with researchers, we learn more about them and how to work with these issues. In terms of nutrients, in my research, I assessed how much like how much nutrients are like uptaking by the plants with with the irrigation recommendations. And we found that because we apply low volume irrigations, like lesser volume and like more frequent than have like a lot of volume, we try to maintain the nutrient in the available zone for plants longer time, so the plants
Right.
were able to uptake the nutrients longer.
Right.
And like one of the grower from like my research was also doing split applications, and that works wonderfully for him. Like it maintained the nutrient at the right time for the crop. It uptake a lot, and there were very less losses. Like the farmer to farmer is also different. Like some people are taking the split application, some might not, because it's higher production cost. But at the same time, like the water makes so much difference if we
Mm.
apply less volume of water, so we don't have a lot of leaching losses. We
Right.
will have the nutrient in the soil for a long time.
Exactly.
um, we also promote improving their organic matter. It is expensive to get manure and all of that, but the farmers do mulch the like the crop residue to
Mm-hmm.
improve the organic matter at the end. So they are doing that effort right now.
Yep. No, that's a big part of it, of course. And then the whole
Yes.
cover cropping thing. I mean, if the crop root can't catch it and you're doing some intercropping, if that cover crop root can
Mhm.
catch it and recycle it,
Yes.
then everybody's
Mhm.
winning. So
Yeah.
it's all connected together.
Yes. They do summer cover crops. Like the
Hmm.
researchers I work in Florida, they do summer cover crops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're down in citrus. I mean, there's still quite a bit of citrus in Fort Pierce. I know they're struggling, but
Mhm.
when those trees are stressed like they're the water, having enough water there, the right amount of water all the time is so important while they're struggling
Yes.
with this greening problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow, it's a great conversation. I'd like to shift a little bit, kind of towards some of the future things. So Dr. Athelly, can you tell us what's something that you're doing right now, or you're working on to the future that you're really excited about. Do you have a project that you're looking forward to or really into right now?
I mean, right now I'm finishing up like my dissertation and all the papers, so I'm looking forward them to get published soon. We have like a
Wow.
couple of papers with Journal of Extension and also agronomy journals. But right now I'm gonna probably take a little bit break for a month, but I'm looking for jobs in extension primarily and
Okay.
applying to them so that I can like find something which like resonates with me so I can continue this work forward. Yeah.
No, that would be a great position for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Are you planning on sticking around Florida, or do you want to head to somewhere else and try something different?
I'm primarily sticking up to Florida right now. Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to move with like some of the family I have in New York too, but I really like Florida.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's a busy area over there where you are. That's well, all of Florida's growing, but that southeast
Yeah,
is really
I
booming.
live in Port St. Lucie and it's like
Okay.
wonderful here. Even though like my parents probably want me back home, but I'm trying to convince them.
Try to get them down here.
Yeah.
So another question about the future, in 10 to 20 years, what do you see as a vision, or what do you predict, water conservation as it relates to agriculture is going to look like in the future?
I would
Kind of a
predict
tough
that
one.
it would be very data driven in the next 10 to 20 years. And I can see a lot of growers who I talk to really want to adopt the technology, not only in terms of sensors, like the irrigation equipment is going to change. A couple of farmers I worked with also changed their irrigation systems from seepage to more drip and center pivot systems. So I see like a very bright future in terms of water conservation. Like a lot of people are changing from their like a practices from like higher volume to lower volume, and it will be more data driven, and we will have predictive models, which like the one we worked with, the farmers would be like very open, like easy to use with. Like right now it's still a foreign concept to them, some of them. In 10 to 20 years it would be like a norm. That is like the new normal. That's what I'm envisioning it.
Yeah, now I work with some growers down way south that are under flood irrigation, and I always, they're just taking surface water, pumping it into their fields till they get it to a level, and then they just turn around and pump it right back out. And it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Can sensors be of any help in that, or is there any technology or
It's very similar to the seepage irrigation which I worked with. They pump a lot of water from like groundwater or from canal water into small ditches, and they maintain the water level. So it is pretty similar. And one of the farmer I worked with changed from seepage. He changed 90 acres from seepage to drip irrigation. Because of how many benefits he saw, and also he got the help from cost shares. So that's why I feel like if the farmers, they are coming forward, that they realize like there is a lot of misinformation that farmers don't care or something like that, but they do care a lot, and they realize how much it is bad for the environment, and they want to change. But at the same time, if we help them with more cost shares and make them accessible, they would be a lot more change and faster. Yeah.
Sure, they need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was looking into your history and your early education, I saw we're back in India. You did a project on vermicompost, and that's kind of near and dear to my heart. So I was wanting to hear you comment on what you did there back home.
Yes. So when in our last part of like the fourth year of my undergrad, we are supposed to do a project, like to that is the university's like way to help us to be an entrepreneur and how to design and everything. So me along with like 14 of other students, we have discussed many projects, and then we decided vermicompost as our project because we had like some of the beds in our university at that time. So, but we didn't had much information or any knowledge before that, so we had to do a lot of research. We studied about it, but it's so much different than how like you do it. At the same time, we didn't had like a lot of raw material. We had a professor who was helping us guide through the project as our mentor. And so we went to the growers and we asked them if they can provide our residue. And we used red gram. It's a lentil residue. So the from where I did my undergrad, we grow a lot of lentils there, lentils and mustard. So we got lentils residue, which is like already higher like in nutrients, and it's new nitrogen and stuff. It's a legume. And we brought the residue and we chopped it up like into very small pieces, and then we laid it down. We didn't had any other base. We watered it for like 1 or 2 weeks where it gets mushy and starts decomposing. And then we got the worms, and then we introduced the worms. And we had to like we made it like a teamwork. Like every single day, 2 students had to go water in the morning and in the evening. Like in India, it I come from like South India, which is like very hot, so we had to like maintain our water schedule very strict there. Otherwise the worms are gonna die. And at the end, we gave the vermicompost to the growers who gave us the residue.
So did they
And
come up and make castings and you scraped off the castings, or did you just let them
yes,
work the whole bed and then you just took
we
all that out and you didn't start it over?
we sieved it, like 2 students
Mm-hmm.
there and 2 students. We sieved it on each bed to get all the worms so that we can use the worms for the next cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and also get like the finer vermicompost.
Hmm.
It was hard, but it was like worth it. And like we had many students who were like, no, we were never gonna touch worms. By the end of that, they were like so cool with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So,
And
so a couple
yes.
things with that story. Number one, I heard so you took something that was a nitrogen fixer
Yep.
in the legumes, so you're getting like supercharged worm castings with really
Yep.
good stuff. I think that
Yes.
was nice. And then the other thing I got is and then you recycled it basically. You gave it back to the people who were
Yep.
giving you
yeah,
the waste product. That's such a great story. That's
yeah,
really
what a
nice to
deal.
hear.
And it's
What
still
a deal.
going on. Like I still am in contact with some of the professors from my undergrad, and they have been amazing mentors. And we were like a very tight knit class, and it's still going on with the new generation. Like they do the project like every single year with the new students.
Well, it must be getting bigger because I mean, worms reproduce pretty rapidly.
Yep.
Maybe it's every
Yep.
21 days they lay eggs, and there's more than one worm in an egg. And it's just, I know when I was doing it, the worms were coming out my ears
Yes.
after a year.
Yeah. So many.
Very, very neat.
Mhm.
One question I'd like to ask, as a woman in a science and technology area, um, how did you feel about that? How were your experiences? And then what would you tell other young women who may be interested in this? Give them some advice. What do you think about any of that?
Um, it's empowering, and it's pretty tough at some times, but it's very worth it. And for like new students or like anyone who wants to enter any field, not only science, as a woman, we need to stand our ground. Like we need to like voice up. We cannot like be lower and listen to people. We need to like represent ourselves like so strong that people would listen to us. Even when I was doing surveys, I went up to farmers and like, please talk to me. And like for a moment they were like, oh, why is she talking to me? But they listened to me, and then they did my survey. So like we belong, but we need to like, unfortunately we have to prove ourselves, but it's worth it. Like we have to stand up, we have to be loud and like tell people what you like, what you have to say, and like do amazing work. And I feel like all women are multitaskers. They're so strong, but they need to really like be like strong voice. And I really admire all the women who came before me, like who helped me and who I see as an inspiration. My professor, Dr. Sandra Guzman, is such an inspiration. She's so strong, very resilient, and she leads our team like impeccably. So like I want to be like that. Like I think when we be as mentors, like little girls, when they see us, they'll be like, oh, I want to be like that. We went to schools for like a STEM fair, and there was like this like second grade girl who came to us, and like their mom was like, she's a scientist, and the girl was like, so you are a scientist? I want to be a scientist. So I think that that's all it matters. Like if they see us and they like they can connect to us like as young women and children, and they will be like more strong. So now whoever we are, like right now, women, like we just have to be strong.
Yeah,
And it's
inspire the
and
kids.
patient, and it's not gonna be like a very easy journey, because sometimes you have to face many difficulties, but be patient, and there are so many allies, so many people who helped me throughout this journey.
Well, very, very cool. I've given a lot of surveys, but I remember when you surveyed me, I guess it was a year or maybe two ago, but
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do it, but you were
Yeah.
persistent. It was it was good, and I remember it.
Yeah.
Do you see it getting better? And is there anything that you could see personally that the industry in general could improve to help you feel to help you feel more strong, more more confident?
I definitely see it getting better. There's like a lot more women coming up. Like they're doing amazing in school, and like even in like India is a patriarchal society. But my parents, my mom is a housewife, and no one before me in my house ever did like no woman did a job. And when my dad, he was like, all my relatives next door, they were like, oh, you shouldn't send your daughter to a foreign country. And he was like, why wouldn't I? He
Hmm.
never questioned me, or he never saw me any less than my brother, or did think that she would not do it. And now he's really proud. So I think like that's what like kids need, like the next generation, like just
Mhm.
that, like like no difference, like we would support you whatever you do, and
Family
they will
support.
go do amazing things. Like
Family
just don't
support is
listen to other people, just focus on your kid and like believe in them.
Yeah,
And I think, yeah, in next generation, there will be more equality, and there will be problems anywhere. But at the same time, like we need to focus on how good it is compared to previously, just to be grateful.
as long as we're
that
moving forward, right? That's
Yes.
yeah,
important.
that explains why you're so driven to do what you do, and
Yes.
we can tell you've got a passion for it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good data. I think this is I'm out of questions. Brad, do you have anything else that you want to bring in?
Nope, I think it was great. It was a good
Oh,
conversation. I learned a lot today. So
I
oh,
did
thank
too.
you.
I did too. Um, so Dr. Athelly, this is your chance now to wrap this up. So whatever message you want to do at the end here, uh, thoughts to leave the team and to leave the audience with. I'll give you take your time, think about what you want to say, and then you just give us a final statement or a final word of what you'd like to leave the listeners with.
I mean, I think in the past 3 years or throughout my life, I pretty much learned this, that trust is a very crucial factor in everything we do. And in my research title in my PhD has like a trust word as well, like how we can improve farmers' trust. So for the farmers and also for the scientific community who are listening to this, or anyone who is listening to this, please collaborate more, learn from each other. It's always mutual learning. No one knows everything. So when we listen to each other and ask each other what is the problems going on, we uplift each other, we empower each other, and that's the way I want to see the world, where we empower each other. So like collaborate, trust each other, communicate better, and like we can be together as a community.
very good
That's a
message.
great message. Uh, so Dr. Akshara Athelly, thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks to our audience. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
It was good to see you again, and I'll probably see you next month,
Yes,
probably.
yes, you will.
All right. So take
Excellent.
care, and all our listeners, we'll see you on our next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
All right, you
Take
too.
care.